Kapai, welcome back to Japlanning.
Episode 5. Wow, we've done 5 of these.
And haven't uploaded one.
Yeah, we've uploaded one. Still have 4 in the backlog after this one. And we still haven't gone. Just a real quick update on what our travel plans are at this point in time, because it's really uncertain. I personally think we're really on the border of potentially not going.
Yeah,
It will be very, very tight, but we'll discuss that anyway. Are we still going? Yes, as much as we can possibly do. So the FCO current advice is that we can travel to Japan and we don't have to quarantine when we get back to the UK. That part's fine. Even if we did need to quarantine when we got back to the UK, like, that would be totally okay because we can work from home, so we're good there.
With our flights at the moment, at this point in time, our flights are still going ahead and they haven't kind of stopped going. There's been a few flights kind of cancelled throughout, like
different times.
Different airports.
Yeah.
So they're not flying so much out of Haneda, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, the Haneda airport, from what I can see, has been completely closed to international flights.
Flights are mainly coming out of Narita.
Yep, and Osaka.
Some of the flights you're actually flying through to Osaka and then transferring.
There was a few different routes, so I think one that would probably work for us would be Frankfurt if we did have to change our return flight home, because we really wanted to fly out of Haneda, but we just need to wait and see, I think, at this point in time.
So at this point in time, again, our flights look like they are going ahead. It'll really kind of be last minute to say whether we are or aren't going, depending on advice from the FCO.
The flights that we have booked have been going ahead, but not the return flight, just the outbound. But they've been like condensing their services, so normally from Amsterdam there's 2 flights to Tokyo, Narita a day. Whereas, like, at this point in time, they're only running 1, which is the one we booked on. So, just with insurance, like travel insurance, we have travel insurance through our bank, so it's not like we've bought an extra policy or anything like that. Their guidelines to us, and I'm sure it'll be the same for quite a lot of insurance companies, is that if you can physically go, if you are able, your flights are going ahead, the country is letting you in, regardless of whether you have to quarantine when you get back, but if you have to quarantine over there, it's different. Basically, if you can go, you're not covered if you want to cancel or change your trip through your travel insurance. So
for any trip that was booked.
Yeah, for any trip that was booked before, I think
March?
Yeah, like the 5th of March or something like that. Yeah, that's a bit of a bummer for some people, but for us, we're really lucky. We haven't booked anything apart from the flight. So yeah, we're still on tenterhooks whether to book train tickets, blah blah blah. So we don't know yet.
Next thing we're going to speak about is border. So again, from the Japanese government, they've advised at this point in time that any travelling person from Europe would need to quarantine on arrival in Japan. Basically, they've disabled any tourist visa open to travel to the country, and I think they are open for like business.
No, not yet.
No?
Not yet.
Not?
They were hoping to open for business travellers first, but the way that they're supposedly gearing up the airport to do so many thousands of tests upon arrival.
Yeah, it doesn't.
I think it'll be a lot more than just business travellers.
Yeah.
I think it'll be different, like, pockets of countries. Like, they were saying they might open up to, like,
Vietnam, New Zealand, Australia.
New Zealand. Yeah. Basically, we can't get into the country yet.
Until that's reviewed, which is at the end of August again. We're on, like Emma says, on the kind of edge whether we're actually going or not.
I think it's a little bit different from any other country. Like, I don't think other countries have actually suspended their tourist visas. Maybe they have and we just haven't looked into it, but from what I can tell, you know, like, travel is quite freely open, apart from maybe some Asian countries, which is fine, but it's just like a bit of a bummer.
Yeah.
If our trip in September doesn't go ahead, we've been talking about when or what we would like to do, because we originally kind of said, like, we don't really want to put our lives on hold for the sake of this trip. Like, we don't want to keep pushing it out, because we have other plans. I'm not going to say what those are yet so we don't jinx it. Basically, if we got a voucher, we wouldn't be able to use it to the destinations that we want to go, so that's pointless. So it's your 30th next year, so we might push it out to February.
Thanks, Emma. Thanks for reminding
That's
me.
such a good 30th! Oh.
Yeah.
That's such a good, it would be, I think that's like our last chance before we're like, you know what, stuff us, we're going for a refund. At this point in time, Air France, who we have booked our flights through, are only allowing changes for departures up until the 30th of November 2020. Our options, if September doesn't go ahead, is to take a voucher for 120% of what we've already paid, or we cancel it and get a refund for our flight. Although God knows how long we'd wait for a refund. Yeah, so we can't reschedule our flights without actually cancelling them and rebooking them.
So there is a website that you can go onto. I'm not too sure what the website was.
It's something Air France had on their website and it's called Travel Doc. I'll put the link in the description box. Basically what it does is it checks your nationality, your travel dates and your destination, and basically tells you the list of restrictions that are currently in place for that country, and I'm pretty sure it tells you your restrictions on your return country as well. It's actually a really helpful tool instead of just looking around for advice. I mean, obviously we'd rather check government official websites, but it's a good indication of like what's happening just now, because it can be really hard to keep up with different sources of information. Yeah, now on to some happy stuff.
So if our trip goes ahead in September, we've made a couple of changes just in regards to like where we're first travelling to. When we had a look into it a bit further, we found that our first destination is actually not the furthest away destination.
Yeah.
So we're kind of be double backing on it, on ourselves.
If we go to Kyoto first, it's not actually as far on the train as Osaka.
We'll be changing to travel to Osaka first, and then we'll be travelling to Kyoto. And then from Kyoto, we'll be going to Mount Fuji. And then from Mount Fuji, we'll be travelling to Tokyo. So we have kind of added an extra night in Kyoto as well. And we have taken a night off Tokyo.
Yeah, because our flight outbound doesn't return until very late at night from Haneda. Yeah, I don't think we need the full 7 days in Tokyo. So we're like, well, we only have a night in Kyoto and we're probably going to be knackered, so why not just stay an extra night in Kyoto? We'll get to see the things that we want to see and we'll just take it off Tokyo.
Well, thinking behind that is we're going to be arriving in the airport in Tokyo. We then possibly be, at this point in time, they're saying that there'll be COVID-19 testing within the airport.
Yeah.
So we may have to stay on site at the airport until those results have been released. Once those results have been released, we will be released to travel. We will therefore then need to get on the train, travel to our first destination, which will be Osaka, going to Kyoto. If we're travelling in and are exhausted, we're able to kind of
we have a little bit
have a bit more chill time, and we can actually go to the hotel and chill before, instead of rushing through and trying to see everything that we want to see.
Just gonna generally chat now. We haven't really made like any plans because
a lot of the touristy kind of attractions are still
be closed,
possibly going to be closed.
Could be restricted, number of people that get let in, could be restricted hours. I really don't think we should get our hopes up for any one particular thing. Like, if we don't get to go to Universal, Fuji-Q or Disney, like, we're totally fine with that. We understand the situation. I think we've come to terms with that. If we go in September, we won't be seeing Japan as it normally is, which is fine because like that gives us a little bit more time like to spend on photography or just like having a general wander. I think we'll really be on the borderline. Like, we could be literally down like to a week to go and we might not have made a decision. We do have a backup plan, kind of. Again, we can't really firm anything up until we know that we're not going.
At the moment, there are places in the UK that are kind of having to go back into the lockdown due to outbreaks.
Like clusters of outbreaks.
The amount of people that have been getting infected more recently has been rising. That is going to be
that's hard for us to work around because you just don't know.
Something that we need to kind of work around and wait on. As annoying as a bit of pain in the ass to have to wait on the government, but
it kind of deflates like the whole like excitement of the trip. Like I know I can't, but I like to plan. You just can't. You can't.
Look at what we've done in the States when we didn't plan. We had, you know, one of our best holidays we've ever
taken.
arranged. So, you know, it may work out for the best.
Personally, I think you have to live your life. I know there's a pandemic going on, but all you can do is wear your mask, wash your hands, sanitize as much as possible, and try not to come in contact with as many people as possible, you know? Like, it's impossible to live your life. Like, how long are we going to have to live like this? You can't put people's lives on hold for that long, in my opinion.
And I feel exactly the same.
Oh, we got a new backpack.
Yes, so we did get a new backpack for travelling to Japan.
Yeah.
And it will basically be to replace the small suitcase.
Yeah, normally we would take away our 2 large suitcases and then we take on a small carry-on case that would just like fire all our camera stuff in, but lugging all that around Japan. 3 suitcases is a bit of a struggle, I think, for 2 people. Especially
on public transport, not having any idea on how the train stations are. It's going to be a total different experience because we don't usually use public transport. The only real place that we have kind of done so is New York.
Yeah, imagine being in New York with 3 suitcases. That would be hell.
The backpack is really a replacement for our small suitcase. Yeah. You can wear it as a backpack, you can wear it as a shoulder.
A sling, yeah. You can hook it over your suitcase handle thing. It's got a little back pocket.
Yeah, so like a over-the-shoulder boulder holder.
Over-the-shoulder holder. Yeah, it stops us bringing so much as well. I think, like, if we had the suitcase, like what we do on our road trips, like we just literally fire everything in because we know we're just gonna like leave it in the car. We've
also managed to be able to fit the tripod that we got in both backpacks by taking off the ball head. The new tripod that we got most recently that we did do a video for.
I think that was episode 3 of Japlanning. So you can go back and watch that whenever I get around to editing and uploading these. I'll find the link on Amazon and I'll put that in the description box as well.
So we're hoping we may have to put that up in the overhead locker, but we are hoping to kind of just be able to sit that down the side of the seat or under the seat.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be in a row of 3 and then the middle seat will be free. As you will know from Japlanning episode 3, we also bought our new camera, which is what we're filming with just now. So much better. And we also needed a battery charger for it, so this is it. It's kind of cheap. Patorna. It's like a USB one, so we can charge it on the go if we really need to. And we also bought 3 Panasonic genuine batteries because we've been stung with that before with third party batteries. Like they're rubbish, aren't they? Like some of them you get, they're okay. They never last as long as the original ones. It's a worthwhile expense anyway, in my eyes.
Charger is a dual top loading charger.
Yeah. So a lot of, I don't know why, but a lot of the ones for our camera, the G80, the Panasonic, they're like top loading. So like we've had one like that before and the batteries physically weren't heavy enough to push down on the pins. The gravity wasn't enough to push down on the pins properly for it to charge. So that's why I prefer flat ones. Wow, this is a record like 10, oh no, that's countdown, so 20 minutes. Wow. Anything else you'd like to chat about?
No, I think that pretty much covers it for this episode of Japlanning, episode 5. So
don't know what's going to happen.
Hopefully our next episode will be a bit of good news and we'll be probably hoping to record that at some point at the start of September.
Between the start of September and like maybe the second week in September.
Just to kind of go over whether there's any changes to our current circumstances of whether Japan's allowing tourists in. We'll see you guys back on episode 6.
I don't think we'd have this many episodes, but it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
So sayonara.
Sayonara. No, not konnichiwa. Bye.
Bye all.
And that like pizza crunch is sitting on my belly. It's like reacting with like the Pepsi and the grease and
it's like stuff. A volcano eruption.
Yeah.